around Washington, so on New York. You see the high stakes of power today, from a government-held hostage to a pop icon fighting for her voice. These are the friction points of our world. We track the battles, political survival, economic strategy, and the simple fight for peace. This is the Global News Update on Top Accolade News. The headlines: Senate passes first step towards ending U.S. shutdown. South Korea expand case against ex-President Yoon. Republicans move to block Zohran Mamdani from taking office as New York's mayor. Japan moved towards growth-focused fiscal policy. We'll begin in Washington, where the Senate has taken the first step to end the nation's longest government shutdown. The U.S. Senate has passed a bipartisan procedural vote to end the nation's longest government shutdown, unlocking a path to restore funding after 40 days of paralysis that left 1.4 million workers unpaid and key services suspended. The compromise, brokered by Senate Majority Leader John Thune and the White House, now heads to the House of Representatives, with Democrats divided over insufficient healthcare consensus. Washington may have reopened its doors, but not its divisions. From a gridlock capital to the 10th streets of Seoul, South Korea's special prosecutor has indicted former President Yoon Suk Yeol on new charges of abuse of power and aiding an enemy state, alleging he conspired to provoke conflict with North Korea to justify declaring martial law last year. Yoon, already on trial for insurrection, faces a possible death sentence if convicted. Prosecutor says covert drone operations were part of the plot, though Yoon claimed he acted to defend democracy. In Seoul's tense reckoning with power, the line between patriotism and peril has never looked thinner. Across the Pacific, history and politics collide in New York City. After Zohran Mamdani's historic reign as New York City's first Muslim and South Asian mayor-elect, Republican lawmakers have launched efforts to challenge his citizenship, accusing him without evidence of communist and terrorist ties. Legal experts dismiss the claims as baseless and politically driven, noting denaturalization is an extreme rare measure requiring clear proof of fraud. As critics seek to erase Mamdani's victory, the attack isn't on his paperwork, it's on who he is. Flip the globe. Tokyo bets big on growth. Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi announced plans to replace the current annual fiscal consolidation target with a multi-year goal, signaling a shift towards more flexible government spending to stimulate growth. She also urged the Bank of Japan to delay interest rate hikes and suggested a potential future cut to the sales tax, emphasizing investment and demand-driven inflation of a strict budget discipline. With Japan's debt touring at twice its GDP, Takaichi is betting growth can outrun the shadow of Japan's fiscal mountain. You're watching the Global News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. Diplomacy hits a rocky path in Latin America. Mexico's charge d'affaires in Peru, Carla Ornelas, has left the country following Lima's severing of diplomatic ties over Mexico granting asylum to former Peruvian Prime Minister Betsy Chavez, who is wanted on conspiracy charges linked to the 2022 political crisis. Peru blocked Chavez from leaving its territory, while Mexico defended its action under the 1954 Caracas Convention, insisting it acted within international law. In the clash over asylum and sovereignty, diplomacy can be as fragile as the corridors of exile. From Latin America to East Asia, tensions are high and words matter. Japan has formally lodged a protest over China over threatening comments made by China's Consul General in Osaka, who warned on social media that Japan's leadership would face consequences for remarks on responding to potential Chinese attack on Taiwan. The post, since deleted, was called extremely inappropriate by Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary and U.S. Ambassador George Glass, described it as a direct threat to the Japanese people. In a world where diplomacy meets social media, one ill-chosen post can roll louder than a fleet of warships. Shifting gears to culture and celebrity, pop star Britney Spears reactivated her Instagram account after briefly deactivating it, sharing a post about protecting her peace and setting personal boundaries following a turbulent year. Spears described her time under a traumatic conservatorship and rehab period in 2023, while also responding to her ex-husband's memoir, calling it full of white lies and highlighting a struggle to maintain a relationship with their sons. Spears' return to social media underscores a quest for autonomy and voice after years of public scrutiny and legal battles. Finally, from the stage to the stadium, U.S. President Donald Trump was loudly booed by fans at Washington's Northwest Stadium after appearing on the big screen during Sunday's Commander-Lions game, the first regular season NFL attendance by a sitting president since 1978. Trump, joined by top officials, led a military oath ceremony and hinted at involvement in the team's new $4 billion stadium project. Cheers were scarce, but politics and football rarely play well together. From government shutdown and historic mayoral win to global tension and pop culture comebacks, the stories tonight remind us that the world is rarely quiet and never predictable. For all its noise, conflict, and controversy, these headlines reflect the human drive for power, peace, and a place to call home. For Top Accolade News, I'm Ojorumiyo Okocha. Do have a wonderful day and keep watching the global news updates on Top Accolade News.